The Department of Education, through the Office of Undersecretary for Administration, DepEd OUA, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology, ICTS EdTech, invites you to join its first ever international multidisciplinary webinar series in collaboration with the Global Educators Network Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, GenTEFL, Thailand. This 3-day webinar series will gather experts and specialists from different areas of study and from all parts of the globe to equip and empower educators in their areas of specialization, integrated through educational technology. This event is a convergence of resource speakers and expertise to further teachers' ability to answer the challenges of these changing times through topics with educational technology integration. Be updated and save this following days. Solo Educalidad!
As we face the command of rapid development and technological innovation in the world, the Philippines' preparedness in advancement of its physical facilities, infrastructure, and soft skills are given focus, especially with the empowerment of teachers' capacity and capability, not only in pedagogical aspects of teaching, but the confidence in delivering instruction with the use of information and communications technology. The Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, under the leadership of Yusek Alain Delby Pasqua, established the Educational Technology Unit under the Information and Communications Technology Service. Its prime function is to empower and capacitate public school teachers and learners as required by the global demand of the fast-paced development in technology. The task of the Educational Technology Unit is to promote and solidify the innovation and digitization projects that will support the requirements of the K-12 curriculum in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for all. It targets different components and facets of skills development, which will enable the technological advancement of the infrastructure of DepEd. This is supplemented with empowerment training programs in emerging technologies for public school teachers. The programs of the EdTech unit target the emerging pedagogies focused on open educational resources, robotics and mechatronics, coding and programming, virtual reality and augmented reality in education, mobile application development, Internet of Things, and the productivity tools for learning, which includes Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps for Education, and the different Adobe software tools. In addition, the maneuver of in-house applications such as the DepEd Commons and the DepEd Learning Management System is under the flagship of the EdTech unit. The supervision of DepEd TV in ensuring world-class produced video lessons is another task of the office. Lastly, the conduct of free online tutorial session, coined with the term eTulay, is a bridging program to support learners and parents in answering the self-learning modules pioneered with the initiative of the ICTS EdTech unit. A teacher's influence is limitless, bound with the heart for service and dedication to fulfill the greatest mission to educate the young. The ICTS Educational Technology Unit will be there to promote, to empower, and to inspire Filipino teachers and learners as we grow as a tiger in the region, hitting our target as one of the best in educational technology. Come on and join us as we make our dreams into a reality. Sama-sama tayong lahat tungo sa iisang layunin. Simulan natin ang pagbabago dahil tayo ang mga gurong magtatayo ng makabagong DepEd. Sulong Edukalidad.
Good day, this is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong Edukalidad.
Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS EdTech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Good day, everyone. I am Sir Robbie, and together, we will learn the word of the future, robotics. Did you know that here in Educational Technology Unit, robotics is a priority to make every Filipino learners and teachers competent and meet the demands of the future global scene? Wherein teachers, students, and parents who wanted to learn robotics is just a click away for free. Robotics is an interdisciplinary field which integrates computer science and engineering. It involves design, construction, operation, and use of robots to assist human activities. Are you ready for this transformation? Soon in ICTS Educational Technology Unit. Come and join us and love the future para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Ako pakiramdam ko, ito'y maging isang world record balang araw.
Mahirap na magkaroon ng pagkakamali sa broadcast, lalo na sa TV dahil ito ay pumapasok agad sa consciousness ng mga mag-aaral at ng iba pang mga nanonood ng TV. Kaya sinisikap natin kaagad na ito ay makorek. At wala naman tayong tinitignan dyan na may sala kung hindi talagang hindi tayo perfecto. At alam natin na napakahirap gumawa ng DepEd TV episodes. Kaya minamabuti natin na bantayan ng bawat isa, tulungan ng bawat isa para maging perfect yung mga episodes natin gagawin.
We at the Department of Education sincerely thank all the organizations and individuals who rallied behind us and supported our mission to deliver education amidst this terrible pandemic.
Ako si Pabing Nueva na babalita.
Anak, sundin mo kung ano ang nilalaman ng puso mo.
Thank you, Tay!
Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niregaluhan mo ko ng mikropono? Ang sabi mo sa akin, susuportahan mo ko kahit anong gusto ko. Ang lagi mo pang ang bilin, anak, sundin mo kung anong nilalaman ng puso mo.
Ganda talaga.
Lagi mo ring pinapaalala na ako ang pinakamaganda. Mas maganda pa sa mga crush mong artista sa TV. Alam mo ba, Tay? Pinaniwalaan ko yun.
Ako, si Pam Villanueva, nagbabalita.
Hindi mo naman kasi sinabing mahilig ka sa mga palabas na comedy. Yan tuloy. Umasa ako masyado. Hindi ko inakalang iba pala ang pamantayan ng mundo. Hindi ko napaghandaan ang sakit ng mga salita mula sa tao. Ganun pa man, hindi ko kinalimutan ang bilin mo. Tay, ngayong araw, maglalakas loob ulit akong sundin ang laman ng puso ko. Ngayong araw, tutuparin ko ang pangarap nating dalawa. Handa na akong yakapin ng pagkakataong ito. Ano man ang sabihin ng iba.
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a long and hard journey. There will be a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. I expect a lot from you. But in the end, when you become teacher broadcasters, it'll all be worth it. Are you ready? Yes! Your task at hand is to deliver your lines straight at the camera lens.
Greetings, bright minds! I hope you're having an amazing day. It's me, your English learning buddy.
Good job, DJ. Okay, next. Any volunteers? May nagtatago doon. Teacher Pam. Teacher Pam, I can see you.
Sa pagkakataong ito, babaliin ko ang pamantayan ng mundo.
Magandang wika at maalab na panitikan sa ating lahat, grade 10. Narito kayo ngayon sa classroom ni Miss Pam, ang mamatanong na kahit sa camera laging umaanggulo, maniwala ka, sasamahan kitang mag-enjoy at matuto. Tatandaan, sa panitikang Filipino, abot kamay mo ang mundo.
Alright!
Haharap ako sa camera upang magturo, upang hindi lamang makulong ang mga aral sa 4 na sulok ng silid-aralan, upang mas maraming bata ang makaalam na ang mga pangarap ay binuo upang matupad.
Okay, teachers, dito nagwawakas ang ating workshop, pero hindi ang inyong training. Bye-bye.
Haharap ako sa kamera upang magturo. Para mas maraming bata ang makaalam na kahit matagal ang proseso ng pangarap, ang mahalagay umuusad. Tay, naaalala mo ba nung niragaluhan mo ko ng mikropono? Hindi ko to nagamit kanina. Pero, nagamit ko lahat ng paalala mo. Hindi na rin pala ako naniniwalang kasing ganda ko ng mga crush mong artista. Pero, mapapanood mo na ako sa TV para sa mas malalim pang advokasya.
The world that we live in today offers a lot of possibilities thanks to technology. It provides access and connection that make our lives easier. Thanks also to technology, this event is made possible.
The Department of Education, through the Information and Communications Technology Service Educational Technology Unit, in partnership with the Global Educators Network Association of Teaching as a Foreign Language in Thailand, proudly present a virtual international multidisciplinary webinar series that converge educators from different parts of the world.
Indeed, we are honored to organize this online gathering of experts and specialists in various fields. The resource persons that we have for our 3-day webinar series from Wednesday to Friday offer lectures and presentations that we are sure you will get an idea from to be better equipped as educators.
The aims of this webinar series are the following: to equip and empower not only the English language teachers, but also the interested educators in educational technology.
To provide an avenue for teachers from different parts of the world to connect with other educators and share teaching experiences during the pandemic.
And to develop the adaptability of the participants in the application of concepts through their respective areas of discipline.
To formally start our webinar series, we will be listening to the pillars of our today's event. The first among the pillars to impart her message to us is the webinar organizer and chairperson.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us put our hands together for Miss Apriline B. Marquez.
The Department of Education, through the Office of Undersecretary for Administration, DepEd OUA, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology, ICDS EdTech, invites you to join its first ever international multidisciplinary webinar series in collaboration with the Global Educators Network Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language, GenTEFL, Thailand. This 3-day webinar series will gather experts and specialists from different areas of study and from all parts of the globe to equip and empower educators in their areas of specialization, integrated through educational technology. This event is a convergence of resource speakers and expertise to further teachers' ability to answer the challenges of these changing times through topics with educational technology integration. Be updated and save this following days. Solo Educalidad.
Greetings from Philippines. My name is Apriline Benigno Marquez, your chairperson in webinar. I would like to welcome all the educator participants, as well as all the international speakers and all the viewers for this free international multidisciplinary webinar series. We're hoping that with this, you'll be equipped and empowered with the integration of educational technology. I would like also to take this opportunity to thank all the people behind to make this happen. Stay safe, everyone.
We have television. In cases where there is no connectivity and printed materials may not be available immediately, we have the classic long-time approaches which have always been used in education, and this would be television. What we need to do is to utilize these programs to transmit our curricula.
Ang content or lessons ng broadcast ay yung MELS, the most essential learning competencies. Talent will be teacher broadcasters. So we will be using our own teachers as broadcasters in this TV program. Type of telecast will be simultaneous and nationwide. There will be one broadcaster who will be teaching in front of a camera and will be watched via TV by all learners nationwide.
Manood, makinig, at matuto sa Asignaturang Filipino.
Ako ang inyong nanay guro, Kinenjoy Herbacio Salazar.
Nais mo bang galugarin ang kagubatan ng Timog Silangang Asya? Ako si Sir Carlo, ang teacher for Pinoy na kabarkada mo na, kalakbay mo pa!
Good morning, everyone. It's going to be a long and hard journey. There will be a lot of sweat and a lot of tears. I expect a lot from you. Are you ready?
Yes!
Thank you, Ms. Aprilline, for exerting efforts to make this webinar series possible. Let us now hear from the President of the GENTEFL Thailand, Mr. Andy N. Kubalit.
Fellow educators, welcome to the 3-day International Multidisciplinary Webinar Series. This event is a collaborative project of the Department of Education through ICTS EdTech Unit and the Global Educators Network Association of Teachers of English as a Foreign Language. GENTEFL is a nonprofit network of educators not only in the field of ELT, but also multidisciplinary teaching. One of our goals is to strengthen and expand partnerships with other organizations. Our aim is to provide an avenue for teachers to connect, share, and learn best practices and experiences. We are honored and privileged to work with the Department of Education on this project. My heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Secretary Leonor Briones, the Honorable Undersecretary Elaine Del Pasqua, ICT Service Director Abram Abanil, and ICTS EdTech Head Dr. Mark Anthony C. and his team. A huge thank you also to Ms. Aprilline Marquez, the Literary SIG Chair, our global speakers, our dedicated committee members who work hard for this event. Thank you so much. And to you, fellow educators attending virtually from different parts of the world. This 3-day webinar series includes a diverse set of presentations focusing on the use of technology in a variety of topic areas. To some, topics included might be something new, something old, or something forgotten, and it's just a reminder for you. But our hope is for you to produce a strategy or technique, something fresh, unique, engaging, and helpful for your students. Please contact us at info@gentefl.org if you have developed any teaching materials, methodologies, or strategies, or any technique, and would want to contribute to our international monthly webinar. You may believe your materials or your strategies, techniques are already common, yet they are likely new to others in other parts of the world, so it's worth sharing. Gen TFL has subgroups also, which we call it the special interest groups, or the SIGs as we say. In fact, we have 2 other SIG chairs speaking in this webinar series, so keep an eye out for them. First, we have Professor Magdalena Brzezinska from Poland, our Train the Trainers SIG. The second is Psych Central SIG, which is chaired by Ms. Vinthia Balachandran, a psychologist from Sri Lanka. It was seen as one important need. It was added during the height of the worldwide lockdown last year. This SIG focuses on mental health issues and awareness. The literary SIG is the newest addition to the SIGs that we have. One of the sessions will feature the introduction of this project, or what we call it, the launching of this project we call Literary Expo. This aims to promote literature by sharpening and showcasing not only students, but also teachers' skills in producing literary form of writing, such as poetry, short stories, short tales, and other related activities. It also includes poetry reading, narrative reporting, and the like. So please attend the sessions if you have time. Enjoy the 3-day webinar, participate and share your knowledge and experiences through the chat box or comment section, and have a fruitful experience.
Like any live event, we also experience some technical difficulties. Now we will be proceeding to the last of the pillars that we will be hearing from today. And this event will not be possible without the presence of our ever-supportive director of the ICTS DepEd EdTech Unit, Sir Abram YC Abanil.
Good day to our distinguished speakers, participants, and guests from around the world. The Department of Education of the Philippines is pleased to organize this webinar series in collaboration with the Global Educators Network Association of Teachers as a Foreign Language. As many of you know, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we live, the way we work, and the way we educate our children. We are very pleased to co-organize this event where teachers from all over the world can share their experiences in responding to the pandemic. In the Philippines, we have been innovating and implementing programs such as the use of television, radio, the use of different authoring tools for the development of open educational resources, and the use of learning management systems. All of these education technology tools are being scaled up at a rate that has never been seen before in our country and around the world. Education is about sharing, so we are very pleased to share our learnings from implementing these various programs through the speakers that are lined up in this webinar. We also look forward to learning about your best practices so we can adopt them in our country. The COVID-19 pandemic is a big challenge to education, but it is also a big opportunity to introduce the new ways of doing things. New ways of using technology to make the delivery of education more effective even after the pandemic. We hope that this webinar series will give you some insights and some ways that you can take back to your respective classes. Good day again, and thank you for joining us in this webinar series.
Thank you very much, Director Abram YC Abanil from the Department of Education, ICTS Educational Technology Unit. And now, we will now proceed with Ms. Bonnie Cheng. Ms. Bonnie Cheng is an active prayer resolution practitioner. She took the PR course in 2017 and have since been helped by Safe Helper, who now teaches a course in China. Bonnie teaches dance, drama, mindfulness at an international school in Bangkok, Thailand. Dance, drama, mindfulness, and psychological counseling are all interested. Without feeling safe, one would struggle to perform, dance, teach on stage, which is why she believed teaching about how to find safe people, establish safe relationship, working on trust is a foundation of mental and spiritual prosperity. Prayer resolution covers a few topics, including forgiveness, sexual sin, destructive lies, curse from association, self-worth, and reconciliation. Bonnie will talk about forgiveness in this seminar, how to unload the burden of others' wrongdoings and destructive emotions that we carry in our own body, allowing God to take away the heaviness that so often we cannot endure alone. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you Miss Bonnie Cheng.
Hi everyone, my name is Bonnie. I am very happy today to be here with you and share with you the understanding of forgiveness. So the topic of receiving and the giving forgiveness is from the course called Prayer Resolution. So it is a Christian counseling course that I personally took in 2017. And since then, I have been helped by the Safe Helpers who also teach the course all over China and the world. And they have been trained by the participants and by the teacher of the course themselves. That they have observed different lessons. So I have been helped by them for the past 5 years, and my life has been changed, and the view of my psychological health and my mental health and my point of view on things have been tremendously changed, and in a good way. And so I'm very excited to be here to share with you on the topic of forgiveness. And forgiveness is the very first and the foundational topic of this course. It is really dense and it's really deep, but today we have only a short time. I will cover and share as much as I can. Hopefully it will be helpful to you. So talking about forgiveness, have you had this personal experience of something like someone did something wrong to you and you talked about it, you told a friend, and you told another friend, and you told another friend, but somehow this painful emotion, this anger, or sadness, just doesn't go away? Or sometimes if something is really deep, for example, infidelity within marriage, or abuse within childhood, this type of pain, you felt like you worked through it, but somehow you just can't get over it. And you want to forgive the people, and you said you made a decision, you want to forgive, whether it's a spouse, your friend, or your parents, and because you love them, but you want to forgive, and you said you're going to forgive, you made a decision that you're going to forgive, but somehow this thing is still very much weighing down on you. And the same thing happened to this woman. Her name is Agnes. So she is a counselor and therapist herself. When she was a teenager, she was gang raped. So by being a therapist herself, she's gone to different healing process. She's gone to Christian counselor, she's gone to secular counselor, but somehow she couldn't feel being healed from it. And her marriage with a missionary also has ended in divorce. But she just didn't understand, because she knew all of the psychology. She's made the decision to forgive those people. She's gone to the healing process, but it just somehow she is not able to get over it. So when she met the missionary and counselor, who also are the couple who initially wrote and create the prayer resolution course. When she finally met them, she was asking for help. So she's like, please help me, because I've done so much self-work and it's been over decades, but I don't think I've been healed from it. And so then they had a talk about forgiveness. She was asked on what basis that she has decided to forgive the offenders. So she said on the same basis as what Jesus has done. So when Jesus was crucified, he had prayed, Father, please forgive them, because they did not know what they were doing. So she has decided to forgive them and offer forgiveness to them because they didn't know what they were doing. And the therapists were asking her, but they did know what they were doing. They probably enjoyed doing that. They plotted against her together. They waited till the perfect timing. If time is convenient, not only they would do that to her, they would do it again to other people. So only then she realized, like, the forgiveness couldn't be done because she hadn't really admitted that these people were at fault, that they knew exactly what they were doing, and they actually did that to hurt her and for selfish reasons. This is a story of Agnes. This is only one story, but I hope this can relate to you in some way. Because a lot of times as people who are loving, as Christians, or just as people who want to help others, oftentimes we talk about forgiveness because we love the person and we want to forgive and move on. But we forgot that actually forgiveness cannot be done just simply because we love the person, or because we're told to do it, or because we think it's a step that we must do in order to move on. So think about Christian principles. Can God just forgive all of us because he loves us? If he could, then why did we need Jesus to die for us? God cannot just forgive us because he loves us. The forgiveness can only happen when the debt and the price of sin have been paid, which is by Jesus sacrificed himself for us. So here I want to talk about two most important elements of God, that is holiness and justice. The two must be maintained without violating each other. So when his holiness is being violated, his sense of justice must be satisfied. We are also created in God's image. So when we are being violated, so when our holiness is being violated, it could mean someone has done something wrong to us, someone who has hurt us. When that has done to us, our sense of justice must be satisfied before we can forgive. And by that I mean that give no excuse, externally, internally, no excuse of the people, whether we could think as because they have their reasons, or because they didn't mean it, or because they had their external reason, but we must be able to give no excuse to them. And because we have been offended, that our sense of justice that has to be satisfied. So let's talk about what does this forgiveness looks like in prayer resolution. So there are a few elements of how do we give forgiveness. First one is accuse. Accuse means many things. I'm going to read the elements of accuse here. So to accuse is to come before my Heavenly Father knowing He wants to see that I am healed of this offense. To accuse is to bring the offender before my Heavenly Father. To accuse is to see the offense, hurt, wound, sin against me through God's eyes. To accuse, to tell Father exactly, piece by piece, point by point, what I perceive that the offender did to me. To accuse is to let my Father know what I'm feeling, just how hurt, angry, or whatever I am feeling. And to accuse means to agree with the Father that this offense is worthy of death. So that means, that's what it means to accuse. You really bring the people or the person to Heavenly Father and you talk about exactly how you felt. Name the emotions, name the feelings, really talk about it in details. Don't just talk about it in general. Just I felt bad, I felt hurt. Like talk about exactly what else do you feel besides feeling bad, feeling hurt. Do you feel betrayed? Did you feel scared? Did you feel hopeless? Did you feel angry? Did you feel wronged? All of these and more emotions that piece by piece and point by point in detail to bring it to Father. And after accusing, the next element is extend forgiveness. So you need to make a choice. Do you want to continue to hang on to this offense and seek vengeance, or to choose to give it all over to God? And I'm going to read through what it means to extend forgiveness. First of all, I'm going to read through what it means to withhold forgiveness. If you choose to withhold forgiveness, it means that I will continue to carry the load or burden, but I will continue to seek revenge in order to see what payment is made. That I am in reality waiting for payment by demanding that the offender be the one to die. That I am returning evil for evil. That I will continue in my woundedness. That I will continue to let that person have a piece of my life. So to withhold forgiveness means like if you don't forgive, it means all of those things. Whether you want to do something to hurt that person, or you want to continue to suffer, or you're going to wait until to see the result of that person. Sometimes by not doing anything doesn't really mean that we're not withholding forgiveness. Sometimes we'll just wait, right? We want that outcome, we want that result to happen to that person. We say like this is karma, or like we're waiting for that bad result to happen to that person. So that is all withholding forgiveness. Choosing forgiveness means that I give up insisting that the offender die to pay for the offense, and give the burden out of justice back to God, who is equipped to handle it. That I permit God to decide who will make payment. But I'm trusting God to see that payment is made. But I trust God enough to believe that He will see that the justice is done on my behalf, to the point that even my sense of justice institution by the
All right, so Miss Bonnie Cheng is in the middle of her talk about cultivate, uh, res- how to cultivate, give and receive forgiveness. And we know that it's very important for us to learn that aspect because it's not just that we are developing the cognitive side in our webinar series today, but we are also very much concerned with the psychosocial development of our attendees for today.
Yes, and you know what, Miss May, it's actually important that we give attention into this because we know that teachers are actually bombarded with a lot of paperwork and they are not giving a little or focus with how they're going to forgive others, which is an important aspect for our own and as well as for our personal growth, right?
Yes. Okay. So our webinar series is not without technical difficulties because Miss Bonnie Cheng is from Thailand. So we are very honored to have her in the first day of our webinar series. If the first topic that we have for today is already exciting, I believe that the other topics for today will be more exciting. And I know our our attendees for today will tune in for those topics that we will be having for the next two and the second and the third day of our webinar.
Yes, and of course, we would like to say thank you to all the teachers who are tuning in right now, not just here in the Philippines, but worldwide. I think we have 32,000 and more participants, right?
That is right. And those participants are not just here in the Philippines, but also they are from different countries all over the globe. So we are very thankful that you join in our webinar series. And partner, mind you, this is the first virtual multidisciplinary webinar series that the Dep Ed EdTech unit is offering to our educators. So I hope that in the years to come, we will have this multidisciplinary series.
Yes, and I guess we're going to have Miss Bonnie Cheng again. Is that right, Director? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you again Miss Bonnie Cheng.
We're gonna wait until to see the results of that person. Sometimes by not doing anything doesn't really mean that we're not withholding forgiveness. Sometimes we'll just wait, right? We want that outcome, we want that result to happen to that person. We say like this is karma, or like we're waiting for that bad result to happen to that person. So that is all withholding forgiveness. Choosing forgiveness means that I give up insisting that the offender die to pay for the offense and give the burden out of justice back to God, who is equipped to handle it. That I permit God to decide who will make payment. But I'm trusting God to see that payment is made. But I trust God enough to believe that He will see that the justice is done on my behalf to the point that even my sense of justice will be satisfied. But I will give up my rights as an accuser of this offense ever again, and that's active. That I will give up my rights as a witness waiting to be called, and that is passive. That I believe that the blood of Christ is enough to make full payment for the offense against me. There's nothing that needs to be added to the payment, neither the offender's apology, nor any punishment or reinstitution by the offender, nor anything else. That I can be free of the load and burden now, because there's no past, present, or future in God's economy of time, so that it is already paid. Well, it's really important that we do come to the conclusion to make forgiveness and unload the burden, because we are not made to be the judge of people. Sometimes we feel like if we just hold it long enough, if we just like remember this memory long enough, somehow we can do something about it. This person have done something so wrong to me that if I just withhold this anger within me and this wounded, painful feeling within me, somehow that this person is being punished. But we forgot that we are not the judge of anyone, and we're not made to be the judge, not to other people nor to ourselves. And sometimes we feel guilty, and we feel like if we continue to feel guilty, somehow we can make things better. But we are not made to be the judge of others, to give other approval, or to judge others, or to ourselves. So after the accuse and extend forgiveness is made, next part is to confess. In John 1st 1:9 says that if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive our sins. So what does it mean to confess? So often after we forgive, we can also realize that our part in this whole thing, after we've dealt with the sadness, the hurt, the anger to God, often we can see our own responsibility in this. So we can confess means to acknowledge the wrong done, to see my offense, my sin clearly through God's eyes. It means remorse, to feel very sorry for the grieving God so deeply and hurting the other person so badly, and to repent, to choose to turn from this wickedness and walk in righteousness and ask for forgiveness. It doesn't come automatically, and even as his children, we do not deserve it. Forgiveness is a precious commodity, as my sin, my wrongdoing, was part of what Jesus carried on the cross. And grateful acceptance, that is an acceptance and appreciation for the forgiveness and gratitude for his mercy, should encourage us to walk in righteousness. And what does it mean to confess? Like, to confess, that's what I just read through. To confess, really to know what we did and to feel the remorse, and also to accept that the forgiveness can be given to us as well. And the next step is to ask for forgiveness. What it means to ask for forgiveness, it means that the great sacrifice Christ made be applied to my sin. That this sacrifice was enough to pay completely for my sin. I do not have to add anything to it for it to be complete. That my sin be paid by Christ and debt I owe canceled. That God remember my sin no more. And because I'm forgiven, I'm no longer guilty or ashamed, and that I am free. So that's what it means to ask for forgiveness for the sin that we have done. And this order is particularly important because after we accuse, we offer forgiveness, we confess our own sin, and we ask for forgiveness towards ourselves. We can be truly free, not that we are a judge for other people or the judge of ourselves. And there is a tricky question, because sometimes it might be true that the other person didn't mean to hurt us. So for example, if I feel very abandoned by my friend who at the time maybe is having a new baby. That's just an example. Like, so I feel abandoned by my friend and I feel hurt by it. But my friend just had a newborn baby and she's really busy. So I feel hurt. So how do we do about that? So maybe my friend didn't mean to ignore me, but I feel hurt. So in this case, we honor the perception of the wounded one. So that is to validate and honor the truth of the feeling. Even if like my friend didn't really mean to do that, but how I feel is true. So I can still bring my friend to Heavenly Father and to accuse and to honor my feeling, because the Father hears how I feel. And if the accusation is really wrong in the end, the Holy Spirit will open a door and let us know that the reverse is true. but we don't really say you shouldn't feel like that because of this, because of that. So we don't give the excuses of external circumstances so that we feel like we shouldn't felt abandoned or hurt. And also there is another tricky question, like that's happening to a girl, let's call her Rachel in this case. So Rachel had an abortion 30 years ago and she felt bad. And she has she has gone through a lot of the healing process to forgive herself. And she even looked at herself in the mirror to say, you are forgiven. But somehow she just doesn't feel forgiven 30 years later. Does God even care? So in this case, after they were discussing with Rachel, she realized that not only herself was responsible for it, there was also her boyfriend at the time who told her to make a choice, either the baby or hospital at the time also said there's no side effect of an abortion emotionally or physically, or her aunt at the time she was living with who said that, you know, she will look after her after the abortion. So in the end, she was convinced to go through the procedure without her really wanted to do it herself. She didn't want to have abortion, but because of all of these factors, she in the end did go through with it. So in this case, that she really needs to bring all of the people at the time who were responsible and sinned against her. So not only she needs to ask for forgiveness for herself, and because she cannot carry the sin and the guilt for everyone else. But after she also accused everyone, in the end, she also realized a new sin, that she had made her boyfriend at the time more important than the baby. So that is the sin that she didn't realize until after she's done the accusing and extending forgiveness. This is what I mean. Sometimes after we unload a lot of the burden, we realize there's a deeper level. So under the cover, there's more things. So after she accused everyone else who sinned against her in this incident, she also was able to see her own sin against the baby, that she could confess that at the time she chose the boyfriend that is more important to her than the life of a child. So these are the two other external things I want to share with you. So after the procedure of the forgiveness, if you do feel like other people might not be really meaning to hurt you, you can still go through the process of forgiving. And also after we finish the forgiveness procedure step by step, you might realize there are deeper things that need to be healed. And to answer questions, often as a safe helper, and also other people who are helping the wounded ones, one question usually being asked is like, what's the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation? So after we forgive someone, does it mean that we automatically reconcile with the other person? The answer is no. Forgiveness and reconciliation are two separate things. We can forgive someone, that means we no longer hold ourselves to be the judge of that person or incident. But to reconcile is not on us. To reconcile takes two people. So just because you forgive someone or someone forgive you doesn't mean that you should go back to that person. Or if you want to reconcile with the other person will also want to reconcile with you. That's a whole different topic. And also another question would be like, do we have to come to confession? Like after we forgive other people, does it mean we automatically come to a point where we also need to confess our sin. Sometimes if in the incident, this one incident, if there's really nothing that you can think about you did wrong, then you don't have to confess. Also, another question is like, what is the sin that we need to confess? Tricky enough for this, often when I go through the process, the sin that I confess is not something that I did wrong to hurt other people, but what I did wrong towards myself. Because we can sin towards ourselves. Sin is not only when we sin towards other people, when we hurt other people, we also can hurt ourselves. So for example, if someone beat you and told you that you're worthless and abused you, and you accepted it at the time, so yeah, of course you need to accuse the other person who abused you, the abuser. But the confession of your sin is also that you also actively believed what the other person is telling you that your worth is. So that is a sin against yourself, because we are not made to feel worthless. So in that case, you can confess your sin against yourself and believe the lie that other people have told you and ask for forgiveness from Father to forgive you, to sin against you, right? Because we're not even made to hold a judgment towards ourselves. We're just not that powerful. Only God is the one who takes vengeance. Only God's the one who can forgive. So that would be the 3 questions that I think people, most people would ask. And thank you so much for being here with me today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me to bonnyxc@outlook.com. It's BONNYXC@outlook.com. And prayer resolution has many more topics. So forgiveness is only the first one and the very foundational one. And I would love to hear from you or answer more of your questions if you reach out to me. Again, that's Bonny, BONNYXC@outlook.com. Thank you so much. I hope this topic can help you have some understanding about forgiveness.
Ipinagmamalaki ng DepEd at DepEd TV ang karangalan na ating natanggap mula sa The Mobiles for Education Alliance. Kinikilala ng global organization ang mga programa at polisiya ng iba't ibang bansa na gumagamit ng teknolohiya para isulong ang kalidad ng edukasyon. Kinilala ang Department of Education ng Pilipinas bilang isa sa policymaker EdTech champions ng organisasyon para sa DepEd TV project. Habang finalist naman sa kategoryang Crisis and Conflict Response ang DepEd TV para sa ating makabagong paghahatid ng edukasyon sa kabila ng hamon ng pandemya. Buong puso naming iniaalay ang karangalan na ito sa mga taong bumuo at nagpatuloy ng DepEd TV. Sa mga guro na nagsisilbing matibay na pundasyon at haligi ng programa. At sa mga magulang at estudyanteng sumusuporta at naniniwala sa ating pamamahayag. Ang tagumpay na ito ay aming inspirasyon para sa pangakong isulong ang edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bayan.
You know what, Miss May? Forgiveness is really hard to do, but we know that time is a friend to mend our broken hearts. And so as part of our social development and well-being, especially during this pandemic, we must be able to know how to do it through the help of an expert. Thank you, Miss Bonnie Cheng, for helping us to process the emotional load that everybody is sure to be carrying.
As part of our continuous commitment to ensure social development and well-being, let us hear from Winthia Balachandran, and her topic is about stress management and looking out for depression. Our second speaker from today is a psychologist from MS School Psychology College of St. Rose, USA. Take it away, Ms. Balachandran.
Malayo na ang nilakbay natin sa edukasyon. Mula noong unang sibilisasyon hanggang dumating ang panahon ng kolonisasyon. Inanas natin ang digmaan at sinapit ang kapayapaan. Sinubok man tayo ng maraming bagyo at dumating ang mga pagbabago. Hindi tayo huminto sa pagtuturo. Nagpatuloy ang ating pagkatuto. Hanggang sa kasalukuyan, habang binabagtas natin ang bagong normal, lumikha tayo ng iba't ibang pamamaraan upang maihatid ang edukasyon sa kabila ng krisis pangkalusugan. Ipinakilala natin ang blended learning sa mga Pilipino, kung saan lulan nito'y abot kamay na kaalaman para sa ating mga kabataan. Sa anumang sitwasyon at panahon.
Hi, I'm Winthia Balachandran. I'm a school psychologist and a lecturer. You can read a bit about me if you are curious. In about 10 seconds, I'll go to the next slide, okay? Do you want to know how to take care of your mental health during this hectic time period? If yes, please listen. Before we begin, I want to warn you that the rhythm of my English is different from that of a native speaker. So if you have difficulties understanding, I'm sorry and please excuse me. Shall we begin? Can you guess the story? Hope some of you have read the books and others watched the movies. Probably the Johnny Depp version or the Disney version. This story is a good example of the themes that I have planned to discuss today. Before moving on to our topic, I wish to do a small quiz. There are only 8 questions, so no worries. Please take a piece of paper or notebook. Write numbers 1 to 8 in a column, like shown in the picture, so that you can write the answer or the corresponding number in the space next to it. Are you ready? One. How many people are affected by mental disorders? 1. 1 in 5. 2. 1 in 10. 3. 1 in 20. 4. 1 in 100. Which of the following is not an indicator of mental health? 1. Emotional well-being. 2. Psychological well-being. 3. Social well-being. 4. Spiritual well-being. Three. Which of the following is not a contributor for mental illnesses? 1. Biological factors. 2. Birth order. 3. Life experiences. 4. A physical illness. Four. Which of the following is a physical response to stress? 1. Increased heart rate. 2. Sweating. 3. Diarrhea or constipation. 4. All of the above. Five. How long do people with a mental health problem usually wait before telling their friends or family? 1. 2 months. 2. 6 months. 3. 1 year. 4. 2 years. Six. Depression is a very common mental disorder. When is depression most likely to occur? 1. At any age. 2. In childhood. 3. In adolescence. 4. In older adulthood. Seven. What percentage of mental health problems and illnesses have their onset during childhood and adolescence? 1. 10%. 2. 25%. 3. 50%. 4. 70%. 8. Which of the following is not a tip for suicide prevention? 1. Listening. 2. Normalizing. 3. Being empathetic. 4. Not leaving the person alone. I bet you want to know the answers. I'll give you half a minute to check. Usually, when I talk about mental health, I highlight the symptoms, treatments, and self-help methods, including relaxation techniques and healthy lifestyles. However, the current pandemic situation and related research made me think that we need a different perspective on things. The second wave of the pandemic, we are still struggling to adjust to the new normal, though we've been using the term for quite some time. Along with it, so many socio-economic and political changes are happening all around the world. Amidst this chaos, it is easy to lose our sense of self and get swept away by the crowd. So, I think it's the right time to look inwards and ask the question, who am I? I think knowing the answer to this question is very important for your psychological well-being during a pandemic, because knowing yourself sort of helps you ground yourself and not forget what you want to do, your goals and your objectives, your dreams, visions, and purpose. Only by having strong roots you can withstand the storm that blows around you. Therefore, not forgetting who you are will help you become the person you want to be. Second, self-awareness is the key to understand yourself and monitor your symptoms as well as the reasons behind them. So, before using any of those self-help techniques, you need to observe yourself and reflect on your thinking, feelings, and actions. Third, because of the pandemic, we are forced to spend more and more time in the digital world. Though it has advantages, it rips away our usual sense of space and along with it, time. In the digital world, there are multiple spaces where our virtual bodies can exist. So, it is also the place we lose our authenticity. An important attribute, according to many psychologists, needed for reaching your true potential. When I said reaching your true potential, I was thinking of one of my favorite psychologists, Carl Jung. He introduced this concept called self-actualization. If you're familiar with Eastern philosophies, this idea will not be new to you. Even if you aren't familiar, don't worry, because it's not too hard to understand. As you can see in this quote, self-actualization is becoming who you truly are. In other words, I quote again, what a person can be, he must be. So, the most logical question to ask is, who am I, right? So, who are you? Or what makes you you? If you can easily answer this question, Sifu, you're awesome. Please take a minute to answer this question. You can use adjectives if you're comfortable to do so. Ready? If my guess is correct, your answer may have fallen under two main categories. The first one, I am what I do. A teacher or a professor, a doctor, a mother, a father, a friend, etc. Second one, I am what I possess. A landlord, a graduate, achieved high grades, earned a lot of money, created a name for social services, etc. In addition to these two, you may have chosen to list your qualities like kind-hearted, warm, caring, fun-loving, and even quick-tempered. Now, take a moment and think this. What if I take away all those roles, titles, and possessions? Who are you now? A good question, isn't it? The good thing is you can take your own time to answer that question, and it's your freedom. And luckily, confusing you with philosophical question is not the purpose of today's presentation. To answer the question, who am I? Psychologists study two main concepts in detail. One, the self concept. Two, identity. Okay, before we move on, I want to quickly summarize what we've learned so far. During this COVID crisis, it is easy to lose yourself either in the real world or the virtual world. Knowing about yourself will help you monitor your thoughts, feelings, and action, which in turn will contribute to your psychological well-being. To help you understand yourself better, I'm going to talk about two main concepts. Are you ready? Carl Rogers, a popular psychologist, said, "The self concept is the organized and consistent set of perceptions and beliefs about oneself." When he said organized, it's similar to the schemata or categories that you create about yourself. The second point is these label categories are rather consistent. They don't quickly change. If you look at your list of adjectives describing yourself, you can understand that these are the categorical labels and you have been using this for a while. True? Anyways, different psychologists define the self differently, and given its nature and complexity, it's not a surprise, right? However, in synthesizing these various perspectives, modern psychologists agree that the self consists of three distinct concepts. The first one is self-esteem or self-worth. This refers to what we think about ourselves. Remember, this has an evaluative component. That is, you constantly evaluate yourself of being worthy or not worthy, good or bad. Do you think our evaluations are accurate? Or do they reflect reality? Who doesn't like to create drama and think in extremes, right? So the obvious answer is no. That's why even with high intellectual capacities, skills, wealth, and success, some people have inferiority complexes. Second, self-esteem is not a fixed thing. It constantly changes based on your experiences and how you interpret those experiences. I emphasize the word interpret, okay? So, what can you do to improve your self-esteem? Yes, set realistic standards and interpret the situation without filters. Second, self-efficacy or self-confidence. Unlike self-esteem, it is specifically connected with one's abilities. So, if you have good or numerous abilities, it's likely that you have high self-efficacy. Listen to this. Studies show that people with high self-efficacy perceive more success, and as a consequence, they actually succeed more compared to those with low self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is even related to things like recovering from an illness or succeeding in a diet plan, etc. So, the question is, how do you improve your self-efficacy? It's easy, right? Improve your abilities and skills. Remember, you don't have to be the best or be popular in the field. Simply learning a new skill or taking your competencies to the next level can boost your self-confidence. Learning something new actually helps reduce stress. So, think of something interesting to learn. I try to learn Mandarin, but it's so difficult. Maybe I should think of something else. The third point is stability. As I mentioned before, it refers to the organization and continuity of one's self-concept. Okay? Focus on these two words, congruence and incongruence. Sounds complicated, Imagine saying this in real life. Myself is congruent. Gosh, really sounds weird. Anyway, let's see what they mean. According to Carl Rogers, without self-awareness, individuals are not able to actualize their fullest potential. Yes, again, it's about self-actualization. To explain this further, he said that all of us have two distinct selves within us. One is the self-image, referring to how we see ourselves, and the second one is the ideal self. This is the person who we would like to be. So, how I see myself versus what I want to be. So, how do we decide who we would like to be? It's not easy, thanks to the world that constantly bombards us with images and standards of how one should be. Now we have reached the point where we need to focus on the digital world. Remember, I told you that COVID-19 forces us to live in the digital world? I think you all are well aware of the unrealistic nature of the standards that the social media gives you. Think about its standards for looks and weight. Did you know the mental disorder with the highest mortality? If you thought depression and related suicide, you were wrong. It's an eating disorder called anorexia nervosa. Think about yourself. Is your Facebook or Insta or other social media avatars the same as you with your most trusted friend? Are you really perfect as the photos that portray you? Don't be hard on yourselves. I'm not anti-makeup or anti-filters. I love fashion and I enjoy quotes as long as they are not dumb or cringe-inducing. What I'm trying to say is, be aware of what you do and say. Constantly ask yourself the question, why? Why did I choose to post this image? Why did I choose to write this down? And be aware of your lies. It's very important to ask these questions because the more you behave like automatic machines without conscious thought, the more you move away from your true self. That is, the more you lie, the further you go away from being authentic. As a result, you start denying the parts of you that do not conform to the ideal image you would like to project. That is what Rogers called incongruence, the mismatch between how you see yourself and your ideal self. See the image? They don't mesh well. On the other hand, if your self-image is similar to your ideal self, there is balance or congruence within yourself. This balanced individual can achieve his or her true potential. Interestingly, as you can see from this image, it is enough for only one circle to change for you to merge the two. That is, you don't have to constantly improve yourself to match your ideal self. Simply make your ideal self more realistic. Make it like your true self. How do you do that? The answer is simple. Accept yourself. Be yourself. Be genuine. Accept your flaws. That is the key to true psychological well-being. Imagine, of all the people who would have understood why the changes bothered Alice, she had to meet a caterpillar for whom metamorphosis is the norm. If Wonderland is the metaphor for the mad world of adults, Alice's crisis is about establishing her identity, which is our final topic. As you can see, your identity is the distinctive set of characteristics that belong to you. It includes self-image, self-esteem, and individuality. Now you're familiar with the concepts of self-image and self-esteem. The last one, individuality. Here we are talking about mental attributes, not outward projections. So, having merely a unique sense of fashion or style doesn't give you individuality. You have to think uniquely. The roles that society gives, like gender roles, ethnic roles, career labels, political affiliations, they all play an important role in shaping your identity. Therefore, it is of utmost importance that you reflect on what you believe in. If you don't think and simply follow or adapt, it is easy for you to get lost in those roles and related ideologies. And remember, each of these role is a teeny tiny part of you, not the entire you. Why am I emphasizing identity and the dangers of labeling you based on one identity? Remember the quiz we did at the beginning? Can you recall that most people take a year to seek help for mental health problems? 12 months. Can you imagine? It's 360 days of constant suffering. Why do they take so long? Because they fear the stigma and consequences. Did you know the surveys done in Canada, UK and USA show that more than 80% of individuals are willing to reveal a family member has a physical illness like cancer. However, less than 50 is willing to share about a mental health problem in the family. 90% of people with a mental health condition face stigma, and 26% report that they want to end their lives because of the stigma. 65% of people with mental health problems experience in their friendships, and 57% in their families, and 38% in their dating and relationships. All this stigma because you define someone's identity based on a single construct, a mental health condition. So, if you remember that your illness doesn't define you, and your identity is so complex with your self-image, self-esteem, and individuality, you will not feel bad for having a mental health condition, or see others negatively or as weak people for having a mental illness. A mental health problem will come and go at some point in your life. It's most likely that it's more than once. So, let us take time to understand and reconstruct ourselves, relabel our identities, and break the stigma for mental health. Here is a visual summary. When you face a crisis situation like COVID that is beyond your control, it is natural that you want to indulge yourselves in fantasy. It can be in your head, it can be a persona that you want to adopt and show others, or it can be a virtual avatar. However, only through self-reflection that you can create a meaningful self and identity that can enhance your mental health and well-being. Therefore, I ask you all to leave Neverland and take a step inwards towards Wonderland. As Lewis Carroll said, I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Winfia Balachandran, for your topic about stress management and looking out for depression. I actually read an article, partner, and it said there that there are a lot of cases, especially depression cases, and it really hiked, it increased during the time of the pandemic. So having this topic is really important and helpful for us. So I want to ask you, partner, because we know that we are doing a lot of things and stress really comes in our way. How have you handled stress?
Well, actually, partner, we know that stress has become very common during the pandemic, because we know that this is a problem that we're going to encounter, and as a teacher, definitely, it is a burden for us, knowing that we cannot go back to the face-to-face learning that we have before. And I usually handle my stress. Number one is that I usually take time for myself.
That's important.
Yeah, I watch the movies that I wanted to watch. I give more time to do the things that I am not able of doing it before, because I was so busy. And the most important thing is you should know how you're going to handle the situation, and as well as the people that surrounds you.
All right.
Yeah.
That's nice. So how about you to our participants right now? How do you handle stress? We would like to know, because it's really stressful, especially during the first months of the pandemic. Our stress is really high, especially that we have to adapt to the fast changes that are happening, and you have to learn a lot of things for us to be able to do distance or blended learning. So we will be waiting for your answers. Again, the question is, how have you handled stress? And we are so excited. Your strategies, Sir Jeff here have shared with us the strategies that he did to cope with stress. How about you? Me, partner, I shared with you that practice of watching movies, because I have a space to get out from the reality. There's something I can really watch that is not about the problems that I'm handling. Okay, so let's see and check the comments of our participants.
Yeah, very good. We have here a comment. I just keep on praying. I cope stress by watching K-dramas. Well, actually, that's good. We know that we are able of doing these things during the pandemic, and it's really important that you're going to give time for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you can see your friends right now, but we know that through the use of technology, we're able to meet them. Like, for example, I think, partner, there was a time that I was able to have a video call with my classmates during my elementary years.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I wasn't able to do that for years. So another thing, we have the virtual inset. We know that at first it can be a burden for the teachers, because they'll be just joining the inset through the technology, and virtually we're going to miss the food, we're going to miss the excitement that we're going
and
to
the chit chats.
Yeah, and we're going to have the Zumba dance with our co-teachers while taking selfies with them. We're going to miss that a lot, and we are so excited to go back into that scenario. But what we have to take note is that we can go back to that situation if we're just going to finish this pandemic. We can have been vaccinated. That's very important. And most especially, talk to your partner, talk to your friends, talk to your classmates. It's very important. If someone tells you that they are going through depression, it's really important that we're going to listen. We're not consider this as a joke, because mental health is really a big problem during this pandemic.
That's right. And just like a K-drama, it's okay not to be okay. We have to feel our emotions. We have to own our feelings. And in accepting our emotions, that we are freer to explore what we feel. And most of our comments here is praying, bonding with the family, because family is really important for us, especially we're as Filipinos. Families, the first group of people we really go to when we face problems. What else? Listening to music by Danica Joyce Yakit. Listening to music, eating my favorite foods. Yes, and it's obvious because most of us really gain weight, especially me. I can really relate with that. Aside from that, look for things. Oh, I missed that. I always talk to God about it. Yeah, very good. Now, always cast your cares to God. Ask guidance and from Almighty God. I always have my me time. That's very important to have a space, a time for yourself. Okay, because we know that you're correct there, partner. That there are so many paperwork to do, and even though they are many, we should allot a time for ourselves. Like,
yes, and it's actually the opportunity for you to learn new skills. Like, for example, I'm just going to share, my wife doesn't know how to bake before the pandemic. But right now, what we are doing is she's actually exploring a lot of cakes and pastries. And I'm so proud of her because she was able to produce very delicious food for us.
And I believe that your business partner is already thriving. And
yes.
You should try their baked goods
yes.
because they are really delicious. And that's right, because we are now in the confinements of our home. We have a lot of time to explore ourselves. We have a lot of time to learn new skills that we cannot really learn before the pandemic. So I believe, partner, we are ready to move on to our next speaker. But before that, we would like to post the training evaluation for our first and second speakers. So here are the mechanics that we should follow for us to evaluate our first speaker, and that is Miss Bonnie Chang. Okay, you can either use the link or scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. For our second speaker, okay, we will wait. All right, so for our second speaker, Miss Winthia Balachandran, you can use, again, the link that you can see on the screen or scan the QR code. All right, partner, I am ready to introduce now our third speaker. You do the honors, partner. Oh, okay. So we are still waiting for our resource speaker to be ready, because I believe that her topic is really important right now. Her topic is actually ethical issues on internet communities, because we are right now we are learning in a distance, online distance environment. We should be able to establish strong ethical standards to our students. Okay, so right now, partner, we would like to ask the participation of our participants today. How did you establish ethical standards in your online classroom? Can you share some of your insights, partner?
Yes, well, actually, that's the good thing about here is that we're going to discuss first about the mental health and as well as depression. Then we will now proceed with the ethical issues on the use of the internet, because one of the most common reason why we are undergoing depression is because of using the technology.
Yes.
That is why we would like to inform everyone. We would like to teach you on how you're going to use the internet wisely. Okay, and partner, in addition with that, we just would like to read some of the comments of our teachers for the answers that they have given. The first one is, worshiping God through Christian songs is my way of coping stress, by Carol Abing. Very good. That's very important that we're going to make a strong connection with our God. It's very important. Okay, from Girly Colonia, I think for me, I handle stress by talking to my partner, by looking nice view of my surroundings, and most of all, I talk to God by singing and praying to Him. Very good.
And many of us actually have become plantitas and plantitos. You know, planting different kinds of plants and having something to take care of can actually reduce stress.
Yes, and as well as from Ma'am Bernalyn Elcano, taking care with grandchildren. Very good. You know what? We don't do this most of the time because we are so busy with all our things that we need to do in our work. And it's very important that we give time to our kid, okay? To our child. It's very important that we're going to bond with them. You're going to play. You know what, partner? During the pandemic, I was able to play Tea Party and as well as the Barbie Dream House of my daughter, which is very good because I actually appreciate that it makes me look young if you're going to have time for your kids. It's very important.
Sometimes we have this, gender expectation that fathers do not really play with their daughters.
Yes.
And it's really nice to listen to
to your experience that you experience having tea parties with your daughter. It's really amazing, and I hope other fathers had found or have found the time also to bond with their not only their daughters but also their sons.
Yes, and with that, we'll now proceed to our next speaker. And our next speaker is a Senior Technical Assistant 3 at the ICTS DepEd Educational Technology Unit. She had earned 17 years of teaching experience and became a subject area coordinator in computer education in a private institution. She joined in 2020 as DepEd TV teacher broadcaster, teaching the subject Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao or ESP for grade 8, and consequently became part of the DepEd Itulay tutor ESP grade 4 and grade 7, and of course, the Mommy Tech Talks. As an EdTech specialist of the Information and Communications Technology Service, the Educational Technology Unit or ICTS EdTech Unit at the Department of Education Central Office, her expertise in the information and communications technology made her join and be part as an EdTech specialist to the Open Educational Resources or OER, DepEd Commons, DepEd Learning Management System or the LMS, DepEd TV, and DepEd Online and DepEd Itulay, which is a free online tutorial, where she became one of the main trainers and ETU Microsoft Education Program lead, spearheading different projects of the ICTS EdTech Unit. She is also a DepEd Open Educational Resources National Core Leader. Also, she became the Microsoft Education Ambassador and Google Certified Educator for Levels 1 and 2. She took up Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Computer Education at Pasig Catholic College. She has finished Masters of Arts major in Instructional Technology and currently taking up Doctor of Philosophy or PhD major in Technology Education at Rizal Technological University. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you our next speaker, Ms. Joy G. Salazar.
I am Mrs. Joy Hervasio Salazar, and my topic to discuss is all about the ethical issues on internet community. First, let us try to define what do we mean by internet community. An online community is a group of people who have a common interest and communicate through the internet. They get together online through websites, discussion, boards, instant messaging, email, and pursue their interests over time. An online community is a network of individuals who communicate with one another online. All right. Now, let me share you a short trivia. So, we also call it an internet community. It is a virtual community. So it is like a social network of individuals who interact online. All right, so there you have it, internet community. Also, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, an online community is a group of people who use a particular internet service or belong to a particular group on the internet. And according to the Cambridge Dictionary, an online community is online communities formed out of groups of people from all different backgrounds and histories. From a social and anthropological standpoint, these are the most interesting to study because they consist of people who probably have never met, yet are held together by a common interest or goal. People join online communities for all sorts of reasons. Perhaps they share a preference for similar things or a similar lifestyle. Now we have here examples of online communities. So we have Fuller, Yelp, Flickr. We also have Wikipedia, Dig, and of course, YouTube. Now, at this point, let us try to discuss what is ethical. So when we say ethical, this is what we considered as right or wrong in a situation, right? And now let us try to discuss what are the ethical issues on internet community. All right. So this sounds interesting as we face the online world every day, not just as teachers or professors, and also the learners, all right, that considered the online world as their as part of their daily lives. So once again, let's try to discuss what are the different ethical issues on the internet community. First, we have here fraud and deception. These are the content that purposely deceives, willfully misrepresents, or otherwise defrauds or exploits others for money or property. This includes content that seeks to coordinate or promote these activities using different online community platforms or through social media. Now, under fraud and deception also, deceiving others to generate a financial or personal benefit to the detriment of a third party or entity through the following. First is through investment or financial scams, loan scams. We also have advance fee scams, gambling scams, Ponzi or pyramid schemes. We have money or cash flips or money mulling. Investment scams with promise of high rates of interest. Now, always remember to take good care of your investments, especially if the return of investment is too good to be true. All right? So this is a hard-earned money. So we should take good care of that. All right? Also, we have here charity scams. So first of the ethical issues that we should look into is this fraud and deception. All right. Second is all about bullying and harassment. Bullying and harassment happen in many places and come in many different forms, from making threats and releasing personally identifiable information to sending threatening messages and making unwanted malicious contact. Also, we have here some examples of bullying and harassment. So we have sexual harassing directed at a large number of individuals with no prior solicitation, attacking them through derogatory terms related to sexual activity. We also have creating pages or groups that are dedicated to attacking individuals, and content that ranks individuals on physical appearance or personality. All right. So regarding cyberbullying, always remember that you should know what cyberbullying is. So tell someone if you think it's happening to you or to others. My dear colleagues, cyberbullying is when someone picks on you, annoys, embarrasses, hurts, or threatens you repeatedly using technology such as the internet or a phone. All right? So if these things happens to you, especially to our dear students, immediately you talk to your advisor, coordinate with the school, then you report the abuse to the social media platform. Then, as much as possible, don't delete the content until it's dealt with. Okay? So you collect your evidence and make sure that you can deal with any form of bullying, especially cyberbullying. All right. Next, on the ethical issues is the privacy violations, image privacy rights. Private information that could lead to physical or financial harm, including financial, residential, and medical information, as well as private information obtained from illegal sources. Okay, so some examples of privacy violation or image privacy right is the content that shares or solicits any of the following private information: personal identity, identifying individuals through government-issued numbers. And, all right, so let us just discuss shortly this privacy violations and the image privacy rights. All right, so to our dear teachers and to all the viewers out there, please, don't send personal information or photographs to an online friend. Remember, you can't trust everything online, friends, and anyone can pretend to be anyone on the web. All right? So make sure that you keep your information and photographs private. All right? And also, speaking of online friends, don't add people, online friends, unless you know them in real life or have a parent permission in case of our students. Never to arrange to meet an online friend without talking to your parents. Okay? So to all our students out there who are watching, take note of that. Also, so as I mentioned, once again, you can't trust everything online friends tell you. All right? So just keep your private information on you and don't share it to an online friend. All right. Next is what we call the hate speech. All right. So under hate speech as a direct attack against people rather than concepts or institutions on the basis of what we call protected characteristics such as race, ethnicity, national origin, disability, religious affiliation, caste, sexual orientation, sex, gender identity, and serious disease. Under hate speech, here are some examples. First is a violent speech or support in written or visual form. Dehumanizing speech or imagery in the form of comparisons, generalizations, or unqualified behavioral statements. Once again, in written or visual form. Insects or animals that are culturally perceived as intellectual or physically inferior. We also have filth, bacteria, disease, and feces. Other criminals, including but not limited to thieves, bank robbers, or saying all protected characteristics or quasi-protected characteristics are criminals. With this hate speech, my dear online viewers, protect your digital footprint and don't publish anything online that you wouldn't want all your friends, family, teachers, and future employers to see. Okay, so please be aware of the information that we will share. You check the sources. Be mindful of the cultural aspect that also involved in the internet community. All right. Next is what we call violent graphic content. These are the contents that glorifies violence or celebrates the suffering or humiliation of others because it may create an environment that discourages participation. All right? So I think this is an example of all right. So I think this is the example of the violent graphic content. Okay. So sorry for this one. So we have here the imagery that shows the violent death of a person or people by accident or murder. All right. Imagery that shows capital punishment of a person. Imagery or image that shows acts of torture committed against a person or people. Imagery and non-medical foreign objects such as metal objects, knives, nails, involuntary inserted or stuck into people, causing grievous injury. And also it involves videos depicting human killing animals if there is no explicit manufacturing, hunting, food consumption, processing, or preparation content. All right. So those were the examples of violence on the internet. All right. Now let us proceed with the account integrity. This is something to do also with the privacy, but let us try to discuss what do we mean by account integrity. These are the accounts that are harmful to the community, including those that compromise the security of other accounts and our services. All right? So we have here examples of account integrity. Number 1, using a name that does not abide by the community or what we call the name policies. We also have providing a false date of birth. Okay? And we also have creating a single account that represents or is used by more than one person. And under account integrity, it also involves maintaining multiple accounts as a single user. All right, so let's try to discuss that one. In terms of this account, okay, so it has also something to do with our password. Being a digital citizen means you'll need to have a lot of passwords. Okay, so be mindful of that. Tempting as it is, okay, so avoid using the same password for all your accounts. You need to use a password that you can remember, but it is not easy to guess. Okay, so as much as possible, you avoid using a password like your exact birth date. Okay, also in creating passwords, you mix that with uppercase, with special character. All right, so that you will have a strong password for your account. All right, let's move on and let's proceed to the next one, which is spam. All right, when we say spam, content that is designed to deceive or that attempts to mislead users to increase viewership. All right, so shout out to all our bloggers out there. Listen carefully. This content creates a negative user experience, detracts from people's ability to engage authentically in online communities, and can threaten dance security, stability, and usability of our services. All right. Now let's try to discuss what are the example of spam. First, spam or under spam, number one, encourages likes, shares, follows, clicks, or the use of apps or websites under false pretenses, such as offering false or non-existent services or functionality. All right? Failing to direct to promised content. For example, click here for a discount code. All right? And also, another example of spam is that directing users of the community through the deceptive or misleading use of URLs, defined as cloaking or presenting different content to the community users. We also have misleading content. These are the content contains a link that promises one type of content but delivers something substantially different. And we also have deceptive pop-up websites. These are websites that require an action, okay? So in order to view the expected landing page content and the domain name of the URL changes after the required action is complete. All right, so there you have it, guys. These are some examples of spam. So with this, guys, remember, in an online community, be polite and respectful online member or user, just as you would be offline. Always treat others the way you like to be treated. Before asking, ask yourself, would you say that to someone's face? Could someone take your message the wrong way? How would you feel if someone said that to you? All right, so be mindful of that. And let's continue. And at this point, let's try to discuss false news. Under false news, or also known as fake news, all right? These are the false or misleading information presented as news. It is often has the aim of damaging the reputation of a person or identity, or making money through advertising revenue. However, the terms does not have a fixed definition and has been applied more broadly to include any type of false information, including unintentional and unconscious mechanisms, and also by high-profile individuals to apply to any news unfavorable to his or her personal perspective. Here are Okay, so before we discuss censorship, let's try to discuss false news. Under false news or fake news, my dear viewers, please check the sources of this information. Okay, so everything that you see on the internet is not really 100% true. So you better check the sources, you research, you look for additional information, and take good care of sharing this information if you're not truly 100% decided that this is from source that is really reliable. Okay, now with this ethical issues on the online community, lastly to discuss is all about censorship. Okay, So, yes, it is true. No one owns the internet. It is international. Material which would be illegal if published in hard copy form is freely available on the internet. Example are racist propaganda, bomb making instructions, pornography. Some say that the internet should be censored, but who will do the censoring, and how can centralized control be implemented? If you ban sites, will they become more appealing so people will search for them more avidly? Under censorship, all right. So, under censorship, yes, aside from the sources, be mindful of the things that you will share on the internet. You will share on your Facebook account, on your TikTok account, all right? And also, guys, life is all about balance, okay? If it's not good for our health and well-being to be online all the time. Balance screen time with green time. So you get outdoors also, move, play, and interact face-to-face with your family and friends. All right? So with that, I think I am already done with the ethical issues on the internet community. So that is short, but I hope you learned something from me today. And let's have here from Germany, Kent. Freedom of speech doesn't justify online bullying. Words have power. Be careful how you use them. All right? So for our online viewers there, so let me just say that in everything you do, love and kindness should always be on your mind. And to all my students out there, and to all our Filipino viewers, as I always say, I am Mrs. Joy Hervacio Salazar saying, sa lahat ng inyong gagawin, pagmamahal at kabutihan sa kapwa ang laging iisipin. Thank you very much for your participation this morning.
All right, we didn't notice that we are on mute, so let me say that once again. Thank you, Ma'am Joy, for imparting with us ethical issues on internet communities. As people who are always on the internet, we must know the ethical issues that we must observe in going over internet sites. And these are the things that I have learned from Miss Joy's talk. First, having an account integrity. Second, avoiding false news. And knowing about spam, hate speech, and bullying. So participants kindly share to us the things or your takeaways in Ma'am Joy's discussion about ethical standards.
Yes, and also we would like to remind you regarding with the evaluation for our first speaker and as well as to our second and third speaker for today. So we will be flashing on the screen the links on how you're going to evaluate them, okay? So we would like to say thank you to all the teachers who are currently watching right now. So I think we are counting more than 7,200 viewers as of today.
Yes, we started with 6,000 and now we are now reaching 7,300 participants right now. So thank you so much for tuning in. Right now we have the evaluation link for Miss Bonnie Cheng. You can screenshot so you can get the QR code.
Yes, and also we'll be flashing the link for Ma'am Joy Salazar. Of course, this one is for the stress management and looking out for depression from Miss Winthia Balachandran.
Yes. And now we will be having the QR code and evaluation link for our recent speaker, Ms. Joy G. Salazar, with her talk about ethical issues on internet communities. And I believe that many of our participants today have learned so many things about Ms. Joy's discussion. So let's now check the comment section and share some of our participants' answers. Okay, let me see. Oh my gosh, my face is being blocked by the
okay, and you know what?
evaluation
You know
link.
what, Miss May? We are so excited regarding with our next speaker because we know that this man has a set of followers not just here in Metro Manila but nationwide. So if you know that if you know that your friend or your co-teacher is a follower of this man, please inform them to please tune in now.
Yes. Okay. So I'd like to just mention Shirley Opanda's answer. We should be responsible for our actions, especially in the online environment. Very nice, because we cannot really take it away once it's posted, once it's there.
Yes, and we have to take note that whatever we post online, it will somehow determine our personality. So we should be very careful of the things that we like, the comments that we give, and as well as the links that we are sharing to everyone, because we can be identified through these things that we are doing online.
Yes, and in an article that I read, actually, many of the companies nowadays are actually looking at the applicant's profile. So if you would notice, some of the companies would ask for your
Facebook account.
would ask for your Facebook account, Twitter handle, and Instagram account. Yes, because they are looking for they are looking at your profile and actually judging you even though they haven't met you personally. So that's why we have to know the importance of ethical issues on internet communities. I can't really wait to introduce our last speaker before we have our lunch break. And who is this man whom I have heard has a fandom.
Yeah. And we are so excited.
Okay, so for our talk for today, he will be talking about DepEd TV, one of the biggest projects of the Department of Education. So let me introduce to you our speaker. In 2020 up to the present, he is invited to join as Educational Technology Specialist at the Department of Education Central Office, facilitating the use of technology for teaching using a variety of interactive methods, thus assisting teachers in integrating appropriate technologies to support, enhance, and maximize learning. Sir Salvador is an elementary classroom advisor at the Amado T. Reyes Elementary School, and as Mathematics Coordinator, Learning Information System, or LIS, and Elementary Basic Education Information System, or EBEIS Coordinator. His active involvement and resourcefulness in the student activities, such as being the Student Pupil Government Advisor, Information and Communications Technology Coordinator, Brigada Escuela, and Adopt a School Coordinator, Learning Resource Coordinator, School Implementation Plan and Curriculum Instruction Plan Coordinator, Learning and Development Coordinator, Local Council for the Protection of Children, Focal Person in School Monitoring, Evaluation, and Adjustment Coordinator, made him see the needs of teachers and students. He then accepted the challenge to design and facilitate interactive lessons for better understanding of students and created a well-designed assessment tool intended to assess their level of understanding of lessons taught. He was involved in the varied researches and studies, two of which include improving the academic performance of grade 5 pupils of Amado T. Reyes Elementary School through Project DREAM, which study is aimed at identifying the impact of Project DREAM and the research on the status of gender-responsive curriculum, basis for institutionalization of gender and development in K-12 program. Currently, he is taking up Masters of Arts in Education and Curriculum and Instruction with completed academic requirements at the Philippine Normal University, Manila. He garnered the following recognitions. He was awarded DepEd Digital Rise Certified Champion at DepEd Digital Rise in October 2019 at DepEd Central Office, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City. He was also awarded as the Best Teacher Awardee, Model Teacher Awardee, and Most Outstanding Elementary Educator from 2016 to 2019, respectively. He is the proponent in establishing an offline repository of DepEd-initiated self-learning modules and division-wide self-learning modules and the open educational resources, establishing an offline e-library for all SDO Mandaluyong libraries. He joined professional associations such as the following: member since 2015 and president of the Mathematics Teachers Association of the Philippines Incorporated in June 2017 up to the present time, member of the Association of Curricularists and Educators at Philippine Normal University, Manila from June 2019 to present time.
These memberships in different curricular organizations hone his skills as curriculum writer and for mathematics. He had been a curriculum writer of learning materials, modules for Mandaluyong Mathematics Circle, and the Division Remediation and Enhancement of Aptitude in Mathematics for Grade 4. He was a division-level demonstration teacher during the enhancement of the K-12 program using the best pedagogical practices in different key stages in January 2019. He was an international demonstration teacher. During the first International Conference and Workshop on Technology and Strategic Classroom and Research Innovations in October 2018. He was a presenter of the International Training Workshop on Contextualization, Localization, and Indigenization of Learning Materials in June 2017. He was the regional lecturer, resource speaker during the September 2017 MTAP Convention and MTAP DepEd NCR Seminar Workshop for elementary teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present to you our speaker about learning continuity in the pandemic, using television in the delivery of quality educator for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the project lead for DepEd TV, none other than Mr. Salvador Manansala I.
Maraming paraan para matuto sa kabila ng maraming pagbabago.
Oops! Oo, kami nga, ang inyong mga teachers sa telebisyon. Mas madalas nyo nang mapanunood at makakasama.
Mas mahabang oras at maraming araw. Mula 7 ng umaga hanggang 7 ng gabi yan, ha?
Tumutok sa ating mga lessons na naka-video episodes. Manood habang natututo sa inyong TV. Ito ay maipapalabas sa IBC 13, Signal TV, ABS-CBN TV Plus, at GMA Affordabox Channel 7.
Kung hindi makahabol sa live broadcast, aba naman, subscribe na sa official YouTube channel ng DepEd TV para makapanood ng video episodes sa inyong cellphone, tablet, laptops, o personal computer.
Learning is a continuous process, and the Department of Education will continue to innovate teaching to make learning accessible to every Filipino.
Kaya para sa mga pag-asa ng ating bayan, ipagpatuloy natin ang pagtataguyod ng pagkatuto ng bawat kabataang Pilipino.
Ang komunidad at mga magulang ang kaagapay. At ang DepEd TV ang gabay at tulay para sa edukasyong hindi tatamlay.
Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Kunin na ang self-learning modules, papel at panulat, ballpen man o lapis.
Dahil sama-sama na tayong matututo habang nag-e-enjoy. Sulong Edukalidad. At ito, ang DepEd TV.
There will be no face-to-face classes.
We will be using our own teachers as broadcasters in this TV program.
Huwag kang mag-alala.
Good morning, everyone. Are you ready?
Yeah!
So pleasant morning to our televiewers across the country and all over the world. My name is Mr. Salvador Manansala I, and I am your project lead for DepEd TV. And today I'll be discussing to you the power of television in the delivery of quality education for our learners. So I hope I am hoping that all of you was able to follow our discussion this morning, and I think I am the fourth speaker this morning, and I'll be discussing to you about learning continuity in the pandemic using television in the delivery of quality education for all. So in 2020, as the COVID pandemic spread across the globe and a majority of countries announced the temporary closure of schools, impacting more than 91% of students worldwide. By April 2020, close to 1.6 billion children and youth were out of school. As we all know, during the onset of this pandemic, all of us, we are caught unaware about this and the possible effects of this one to the continuity of education, not only in the Philippines, but across the country. So, as we all know, during the start of this pandemic, we in the Department of Education, ICT as Educational Technology Unit, we are providing our teachers with different avenues wherein they can learn something, especially some pedagogical aspects wherein we help our teachers in the delivery of instruction using various online platforms and different applications that is suitable for their teaching and learning process. Access to quality is stipulated in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that by 2030, to ensure that all girls and boys complete free, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education, leading to relevant and goal 4 of effective learning outcomes. So access to quality education and holistic development cannot be compromised in times of crisis. During the start of the academic year, the Department of Education issued the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan that will be utilized and that will be followed by all the division offices and the regional offices across the country. The purpose of this one is for our learning or for our education to continue, because if we will stop education, we will lose human capital. In the Philippines, the provision of access to quality basic education continues to be a key priority of the Department of Education. This is highlighted in DepEd's Trust, Sulong Edukalidad, which seeks to close access gaps while recalibrating the department's energies towards improving the quality dimension of the national educational system. We've been hearing a lot about this Sulong Edukalidad mantra of the Department of Education. So this is the purpose of that. This is the main goal of the Sulong Edukalidad mantra of the department, to close access gaps while recalibrating all the aspects of the DepEd in response to the needs of the society. So when we talk about Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, it was developed to provide guidance to the department on how to deliver education in this time of crisis while ensuring the health, safety, and welfare of our learners, teachers, and personnel of DepEd. As cited in its Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, the DepEd has identified 4 modalities for distance learning: the print-based or offline self-learning modules, or SLMs, the online learning, the television-based instruction, and the radio-based instruction. For my presentation this morning, I'm going to focus more on the TV-based instruction and its role in the delivery of quality education for all learners. There is a natural synergy between the education sector and the television and radio industry. Ideally, television is meant to, first, to educate our learners, to inform the viewers, to entertain, and to inspire. Let us always remember that the primary purpose of television is to educate the young, to inform the viewers, and to inspire our learners to do more, and lastly, to entertain them. When we talk about educational television, it is a system that presents learning content in various subjects produced by an agency. In each country, we have this department or ministry that is handling the education sector. And in times of pandemic, I know in the Philippines, we are utilizing television. We utilize the TV in delivering quality education to our learners, but with the help of our teacher broadcasters. We call our teachers or the teacher presenter as teacher broadcasters, and they are trained to face the camera. They are trained how to project and to deliver the script in front of the camera. It is a means of providing direct instruction, formal as well as continuing education or non-formal. In the Philippine setup, we are implementing the K-12 program from kindergarten to senior high school. We also have the universal kindergarten program that requires all pre-elementary learners to undergo kindergarten, and then we also have the alternative learning system that is intended to bring back out of school youth inside the classroom. So this is somehow a holistic approach to develop our community. It has the capacity to bring the world into a classroom and a classroom into home. So as we all know, the comfort of our learners, television, they can learn, and the teachers can deliver the lesson remotely. According to Wayne Coy, who described TV as the electronic blackboard, educational television combines both sensory and auditory experience. It is an extension of radio broadcasting. It offers uniformity of communication. It is a versatile educational vehicle, and it stimulates and reinforces ideas. It provides live broadcasts if on-the-spot events, and it provides a powerful visual medium and as a means of leisure time or activity. So this is how Wayne Coy described television as electronic blackboard. So in the Philippines, we are implementing this television-based instruction as a supplementary materials for our teachers and for our learners. The vision is to create a sustainable training program that would be vital tool during the pandemic and disasters where education cannot stop. As we all know, during the press conference before the start of this academic year, our Secretary Lenore Magtolis Briones, told us that education must continue. So to be able for us to continue the teaching and learning process, the DepEd initiated various programs, different activities, and worthwhile projects that will help our teachers and our learners in the continuation of their learning. So a program that upholds the Department of Education's core values, we have the Makajos, or God-centered and God-fearing, makatao, compassion for humanity, makabansa, patriotic, makakalikasan, love, or protector of nature. These core values is the main theme of all the TV episodes in DepEd TV or in the DepEd TV-based instruction. Teacher broadcasters and script writers are trying their best to integrate these values of being God-centered and God-fearing, compassion for humanity, patriotic, and love or protection of nature. The goal is to balance the distribution of quality education among areas in both urban and geographically isolated and disconnected communities. If we're going to recall, we have 4 learning modalities for this school year. We have the online, we have the modular, we also have the TV-based and radio-based instruction. Let's face the reality that not all our schools are connected in the internet. So to be able for us to address the gap, we are initiating different programs such as the use of modules and the TV-based instruction. The DepEd created this TV-based instruction to reach those learners in the last mile schools. So these are schools located in the far-flung areas, and most of the time cannot be reached by a certain kind of vehicle. It provides quality teaching and learning delivery by using television as a means to support and complement other learning delivery modalities and integrate core values and other government initiatives that support and protect children's interest in pursuit of liberating education. The use of television can be integrated to other learning modalities that we are implementing right now. The teachers, para-teachers, learning facilitators are expected to improve pedagogical competence using television as a tool in delivering instruction and to maximize opportunities for professional growth and development using telecourse for teachers. So these are the goals of the TV-based instruction. So these are the objectives: to provide quality access to education for learners and teachers who are geographically isolated and disconnected. We need to put an emphasis to this one, to those who are geographically isolated and disconnected schools, including learners and teachers. To support other distance learning modality platform by using television broadcast in streaming instructional videos, and to ensure the delivery of instruction is clear, well-defined, and bounded in a specific air time. In the Philippines, we are implementing two kinds of TV-based instruction. We have the first one, the DepEd TV, wherein episodes are pre-recorded with the help of our partners in the production. It includes the taping of the episodes, the quality assurance of the scripts, and the post-production work to be able for us to come up with a well-designed TV episodes that is aligned with the most essential learning competencies. We also have this live tutorial or the online tutorial, also known as Itulay. So that is a live tutorial wherein students and teachers can interact with one another. Significance. The UNESCO has mentioned in its preamble, televised education is far from being education of the cheap because it is mass-produced and television can allocate incomparable material and human resource to single program transmitted to millions of viewers. So imagine the reach of your television if we're going to use this in informing, in educating, and in inspiring our learners in times of pandemic. If educational television were accepted not as an extra but as the basic instrument for education, there would be no obstacle to still further improvement of the programs. Many innovations in the curricula and methods which is difficult to introduce in traditional education could be adopted in televised education. So in the upcoming academic year, we will have some changes in the delivery of instruction. There is a balance between the printed learning modules and the digital version of those modules. It includes the development of ebook, the development of educational apps, and the conversion of the learning modules to a TV episodes through DepEd TV. Who are the expected viewers? We have the K-12 learners, the ALS learners, teachers and other non-teaching personnel, educational leaders, parents, household partners, and learning facilitators at home. So these are the expected viewers of this TV-based instruction. For the methodology, we will focus more on the curriculum content, Lessons presented in the television broadcast are aligned to the most essential learning competencies. In everything that we do, in every scripts that we required our teacher broadcasters to create, it should be aligned with the most essential learning competencies or the curriculum that we are using right now here in the Philippines. This is the proposed airtime. In the Philippines, we divided the levels into 4 key stages. The key stage 1 for kindergarten to grade 3, key stage 2, grades 4 to grade 6, key stage 3, grade 7 to grade 10. For key stage 4, we have senior high school, and we also have this alternative learning system in the educational landscape in the Philippines. And in crafting this particular guidelines with regards to the airtime, we take into consideration the number of minutes per key stages, and it complies with the allowable screen time of learners recommended by the World Health Organization while maintaining the recommended number of engagement per key stage as defined in the DepEd Order number 21 series of 2019 as possible. And more airtime is proposed for key stage 1 to 3 in as much as they will still need additional guidance from their parents to process the episodes for them. So we are trying to apply the scaffolding approach here. Wherein at the first key stage, it is guided, more airtime. Key stage 2, less airtime and less guidance from the learning home partners or learning facilitators until such time that our learners can independently watch and answer all the questions on their TV lessons. Less airtime is proposed as the key stage progresses, where learners are more independent and self-paced. So if we're going to observe, there is a continuous process in absorbing all the details and all the informations about a particular lesson. So this is the prescribed delivery of each episode and the minimum format. Let's start first with this one, the key stage 1, kindergarten to grade 3, introduction and pre-assessment, 10 minutes, lesson proper, 30 minutes, synthesis and generalization, 5 minutes, application and post-assessment, 10 minutes, agreement and assignment, 5 minutes. So this is the allocated time allotment for key stages across all parts of our lesson. If we're going to observe on the introduction and pre-assessment, the lesson proper and the application, it changes from 10 for K to 3 and for grades 4 to 6, and then for grade 7 to senior high school and to ALS, we are using 5 minutes. Implementation of TV-based instruction. So I'll be discussing some of the things that we need to consider in the implementation. If in case your school, your country, or your division wants to implement this TV-based instruction. DepEd TV implementation has 5 main stages, namely the planning, the script writing, production, broadcast, and to be able for us to sustain the program, we need to have this monitoring and evaluation as summarized in the diagram below. So we will start with planning, script writing, TV school production, TV school broadcast, and monitoring and evaluation. For the planning, the preparation for this is consultation and discussion. A focal person and assistant focal person for the proposed TV-based instruction program shall be designated by your principal or administrator. Consultations and discussions shall be organized by the focal person together with the other core team. It includes, for example, in the DepEd, for example, it includes ICTS, BLD, BCD, and BLR. Discussion with partners with technical background in developing content for this medium will be top. So, ibig sabihin po, no? Syempre, let us remember that we need to have these connections to those who are knowledgeable in the production side. So it's a collective effort between the department and the external partners who will help you in the production of your TV episode. Next, standards and requirements for the scripts, productions, and actual broadcast shall be finalized. So we need to have these guidelines or the rubrics on how we're going to evaluate all the contents of our TV episodes. Identification of competencies to be developed. So in the Philippines, we are prioritizing the most essential learning competencies as suited for the DepEd TV program and development. Lastly, preparing the logistics. When we talk about logistics, it includes transportation. And if we are implementing this, the test, the COVID test mechanism, the food and all the safety precautions that you need to take into consideration during the course of this program. Another one, let's have the script writing. The following will be considered in the development of DepEd TV scripts or the scripts that you are going to use. The theme for each lesson and grade level, the competencies to be developed, target learners, specific content, duration, and time requirements. So these are the things that we need to consider in writing our scripts. First, we need to have our theme or yung what we call this, the concept that we're going to implement on our script and all the treatments that we're going to put in our TV episodes. And our script should be aligned with the most essential learning competencies, and the words, the illustrations, and other effects that we're going to use should be suited to our target learners using a specific content. And for the script writing, we have workshop on the development of scripts and storyline. The development team shall be screened and selected based on qualification standards for the development of team members. The development team shall be oriented on teaching and learning through television, unpacking of curriculum and the MELC, or the most essential learning competencies, writing the scripts, terms of reference for the development team. Each member of the team shall sign an agreement containing the deliverables after the orientation. Another one is the quality assurance of scripts and storyline. The quality assurance management team shall form a QA team consisting of learning resource evaluators who will evaluate the scripts by learning area. Quality assurance of the scripts shall follow the following criteria. It is divided into two. The first one is the content. As a QA member or as part of the QA mechanism, we need to check the intellectual property rights compliance, learning competencies, instructional design and organization, instructional quality, and social content. Another factor is the language. We need to check the coherence and clarity of thought, grammar and syntax, spelling and punctuation, consistency in style, and the use of gender-fair language especially when we are teaching gender-related topics. Once the script satisfactorily meets the standards and requirements, it shall be revised as recommended. If there is a revision, the QA team shall furnish the development team a copy of quality assured scripts with marginal notes for evaluation, revision, and finalization. And after that, we need to review the revised scripts or storyline. The development team shall review the scripts based on the recommendations of the QA. So if we're going to observe, we start with the quality assurance, the revision based on the comments of the quality assurance team, and the review of the scripts if the writer was able to follow the suggestions of our QA team. Revision, finalization, refinement of scripts, and storylines. The development team shall finalize the scripts based on the recommendation of the quality assurance team. Should the scripts meet the standards and requirements, the development team shall forward and finalize the scripts to the DepEd TV production team, and it will now be subject to production. So the first one, let's try to have a recap. We have the planning. The second one is the script writing. And the third one is the DepEd TV production. For the DepEd TV production, development of DepEd TV, the development team shall be composed of the ICT-related team in partnership with the network's technical experts and shall be oriented on the following. So, as an agency that is focused on education, we need to orient our partners in the teaching and learning through television, the terms of reference for the development team. The instructors or facilitators of the DepEd TV lesson shall be identified, and as may be recommended, especially those lessons that are communicated in mother tongue based on the following criteria. During the implementation of the K-12 curriculum, if we're going to analyze the K-12 program, we have this unique feature of using mother tongue in teaching subjects in elementary, especially grades 1 to grade 3, wherein the teacher will use his or her mother tongue in the delivery as a medium of instruction. So that is the future plan. We are planning to have this DepEd TV, we are planning to have this DepEd TV program intended for a specific mother tongue. We will focus first on the first 3 mother tongue, and then we're going to populate other episodes with all the dialects and languages that we are using here in the Philippines. Number 2, quality assurance, revision, and finalization. The QA team, consisting of learning resource evaluators and network experts who will evaluate the programs. And just like what I've been mentioning a while ago, the quality assurance program of the programs shall follow the strict guidelines in content and design and the language. If the episode satisfactorily meets the standards and requirements, it shall be validated. It shall be validated using set-up audience. Validation of the video format using target users and the revision and finalization of the validated video. And lastly, this is the proposed video cycle in the context of DepEd. The first one is that the production of video lessons will be a bayanihan of the whole department among all governance levels. So the central office will distribute the MELC to our regional office per grade level. And the central office shall provide the MELCs appropriate for video lessons to the region for distribution to the divisions. Each region shall focus on the subject areas that have been assigned by the department. Divisions shall choose teacher broadcasters and schools who will undertake actual production of DepEd TV lessons. The school shall submit the draft video lessons for consolidation at the division level, after which this shall be submitted to the regional level for transmission to the central office. So it is the responsibility of the regional office to distribute the most essential learning competencies to the division office, and the regional office will also consolidate and submit video episodes. And our division office will distribute the MELCs to the schools, and the schools will convert the MELCs to video episodes. Schools or division can produce video episodes by recording, taping as live teacher broadcasters teaching in front of camera. And the schools or the division shall submit video episodes. Again, this is the proposed flow for our video production cycle. So according to this one, we have the multi-dimensional role of the television. The first one is television as a catalyst. When we talk about television as a catalyst, classroom TV can also stimulate educators to reconsider curricular options, to evaluate the methods of pedagogy now in practice, and to see the new relationship among discrete curricular areas. It provides a source of ideas for teachers and can analyze their development of more vivid, more motivating, and more contemporary practice. It also focuses more on the improvement of quality. Our TV episodes represents the best educational efforts of the curriculum specialists, program designers, teacher broadcasters, and audiovisual artists and broadcasting specialists. The programs incorporated the best, most up-to-date thinking in the field, and the content is presented in an attractive and stimulating format. So we have first television as a catalyst, and the second one for the improvement of quality. So for the third one, we have television as a means of extending children's experience. When we talk about this one, television in the classroom is truly what UNESCO often called as a window on the world. The programs allow students to transcend the boundaries to space and time and to see society in new and diverse ways. The fourth one, TV as a means of introducing effective education. Television has been instrumental in introducing effective education into classroom. TV programs that provide shared, relatively universal experiences have given our teachers and their students some opportunity to examine their feelings about themselves and their environment. For the fifth one, television is a means of equalizing educational opportunity. Educational inequality is a persistent problem in most of the countries from both economic and sociocultural viewpoints. As a broadcast signal, however, is not limited to wealthy schools or districts or to new schools. For our young children in particular, the impact of programs on their development of basic skills has been encouraging, and similar programs for all students are now being created. TV as a means of improving efficiency and productivity. Productivity in education means significantly more than the ability of fewer students to teach more students. It means better preparation. It means better preparation of students to be effective and fulfilled members of the community at large when the school television adds to the number of possible approaches to instruction that will stimulate, improve class instruction. And for the last one, TV-based instructional system. In many countries, the main vehicle for achieving educational goal has been TV-based instructional system. These are distinguished not by their format or purpose, but their mode of development. The programs are developed keeping in view and incorporating students' needs assessment, a lesson design, formative evaluation, and the revision of objectives and strategies. So what are the special features of our television-based instruction? In the Philippines, we are producing videos. We are creating videos with Filipino Sign Language. This is intended to address the needs of our learners with special educational needs. So if we're going to observe in the DepEd, we are catering different kinds of learners. We have from kindergarten, grades 1 to senior high school, ALS, and most especially we have our special education programs wherein we are catering learners with special educational needs. On this particular feature of the DepEd TV, we have this Filipino Sign Language who is interpreting the content of the TV episodes. That particular sign language will help our learners with special educational needs to understand the content of that particular TV lesson. So, inclusivity at its finest. Another one, we also have this Creating Gender Fair and Inclusive Educational Television episodes for early learners. This is in partnership with USAID. So on this particular feature of DepEd TV, we trained our teachers on how to create gender fair and inclusive educational television episodes, not for early learners, but across all grade levels. The link provided below will help us to navigate and to explore the evaluation tool that we are using in assessing whether that particular episode is gender fair and inclusive in nature. We are also focusing more on empowerment training for teacher broadcasters. The extensive and comprehensive training program of DepEd would focus on both on-camera and off-camera duties and responsibilities of the public school teachers who pass their audition to be teacher broadcaster. When we talk about on-cam, this is it consists of our teacher broadcasters and other talents. When we talk about off-camera, these are scriptwriters, members of the production team, and members of our music department. We have this approved broadcast training program. At the start of our implementation of DepEd TV-based instruction, our partners were able to develop this approved broadcast training program, and this is our manual in the conduct of different trainings for our teacher broadcaster and would-be teacher broadcasters. We also have this webinar ABPs. As we all know, during this pandemic taught us a lot of things, especially when it comes to the delivery of instruction. Before, we are renting a specific hall to be able for us to conduct a particular webinar. Now, just like what we are doing right now, we are using a particular video conferencing tool to inform and to educate you about the current trends in the educational technology. So we have the webinar ABPs wherein teacher broadcasters can watch the presentation of our speakers so that they will have enough time to understand and to cope with the discussion. And for the information of our televiewers, our Filipino teachers, learners, and citizens of the Philippines and across the country, we launched DepEd TV last July 2020. We are young and we are still improving our craft in pursuit to deliver quality education to our learners, and we are proud to say that we were able to receive different awards for this particular program. The first one is the M-Education Alliance Award, or the Policymaker EdTech Champions. So let us watch.
Ipinagmamalaki ng DepEd at DepEd TV ang karangalan na ating natanggap mula sa The Mobiles for Education Alliance. Kinikilala ng global organization ang mga programa at polisiya ng iba't ibang bansa na gumagamit ng teknolohiya para isulong ang kalidad ng edukasyon. Kinilala ang Department of Education ng Pilipinas bilang isa sa Policymaker EdTech Champions ng organisasyon para sa DepEd TV project. Habang finalist naman sa kategoryang Crisis and Conflict Response ang DepEd TV para sa ating makabagong paghahatid ng edukasyon sa kabila ng hamon ng pandemya. Buong puso naming iniaalay ang karangalan na ito sa mga taong bumuo at nagpatuloy ng DepEd TV. Sa mga guro na nagsisilbing matibay na pundasyon at haligi ng programa. At sa mga magulang at
estudyanteng sumusuporta at naniniwala sa ating pamamahayag. Ang tagumpay na ito ay aming inspirasyon para sa pangakong isulong ang edukasyon para sa bata, para sa bayan.
And another award is the Cygnus TV Asia Conference 2021 Grand Prize for Outstanding Thematic Presentation. And to give us an idea about this particular award and the winning piece of DepEd TV, let us watch this short video presentation about Cygnus TV Asia Conference 2021.
The Department of Education and DepEd EdTech Unit are honored to receive another recognition for the DepEd TV project. DepEd TV won the Outstanding Thematic Presentation from Cygnus Asia TV Conference 2021. Cygnus is a worldwide Catholic organization for communication recognized by the Vatican. 12 countries joined the international conference with DepEd TV as the Philippine delegate. The awarded presentation featured the strategy used by the project, where on-air and online platforms were utilized to bring quality education to students despite the pandemic. Our Filipino teachers' passion and dedication were also recognized as a vital part in the success of the project.
There will be an announcement of the final winner.
The winner is Cygnus Philippines, Paulo Antonio.
Congratulations! Cygnus Asia TV Conference 2021 Grand Prize winner for outstanding thematic presentation.
This recognition is wholeheartedly dedicated to the people behind DepEd TV, most especially to our teacher broadcasters, who are the foundation of this project. And to our dear students, who are the inspiration of our vision, a progressive country with educated and well-informed citizens. Our mission continues. Para sa bata, para sa bayan.
And to summarize my talk about the use of television in the delivery of quality education for all in times of pandemic, we need to keep in mind that educational television plays an important role in the teaching and learning process in recent years. The policymakers to the agencies of state government, the curriculum is designed for the student community, which will benefit immensely from the educational television that will make the learners as technology, pedagogy, integration. And in everything that we do, we need to consider quality. Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. This is according to Mr. William A. Foster. And to be able for us to achieve quality, we need to plan, we need to do, to check, and to act. To close my discussion this morning, let us always remember, as part of the Department of Education, it is our duty to support the programs and the projects of our department, especially in the delivery of quality education, by following our department's mantra, Sulong Edukalidad. And to finally, let us watch this short video presentation about the upcoming big event of DepEd TV, the DepEd TV Awards 2021. Again, this is Mr. Salvador Imanansala I, your educational technology specialist, the project lead of DepEd TV, saying goodbye and see you around.
Year 2020.
started to defy limits.
Ating tuklasin, obra! Lagi mong gamitin ang iyong isip at kilos loob.
Proving that education knows no boundaries. Bringing knowledge to every part of the country.
May kulang ba sa akin? May mali ba sa akin? Pangit ba ako?
Magbasa, magsulat, makinig at maghaya.
This 2021, as we come to a year of DepEd TV, of turning dreams into reality, of courage to initiate and innovate, of passion that goes beyond tradition. We proudly present the first ever DepEd TV Awards. Outstanding Teacher Broadcaster Awards. Production Awards. Special Awards. And Core Values Awards. A night of excellence and gratitude. This is DepEd TV Awards, coming in August 2021.
Thank you so much, Sir Salvador Manansada, first for sharing us a vision of Philippine education and reiterating that in everything we do, there should be an existence of quality.
Yes, and I'm sure everyone is excited on how they're going to have their certificates in attending this international multidisciplinary webinar for teachers. So we would like to remind everyone that you can take your cell phones and take a screenshot of each of the topic that we discussed earlier. And if you weren't able to do that, we're going to have a replay of this day's episode, and tomorrow and this afternoon you may start taking photos for the certificate that you're going to have after the series of this webinar. And also we would like to remind you regarding with the evaluation that we need. So we will be posting again the links on how you're going to evaluate the 4 speakers that we had before.
Yes, for us to assess if you have really enjoyed our topics for the first half of our day 1. This is the link and the QR code that you can use to evaluate our speakers for today. Here is the QR code and the link for the evaluation of Miss Bonnie Cheng's topic about giving and receiving forgiveness.
Yes, and also we have here the evaluation for Miss Wintia Balachandran about stress management and looking out for depression. And also, here is the link for Ma'am Joy G. Salazar about ethical issues on internet communities.
Okay. So, and this is the QR code and the link for our recent speaker, Mr. Salvador E. Manansada, first for his talk about quality education using television.
Yes, and also we would like to remind you teachers that we're going to have our afternoon session, and the topics are?
So there are so many things that our participants can look forward to. We have a keynote speech by none other than the head of the DepEd EdTech unit, Sir Mark Anthony CC. We also have some topics about writing, about OERs, and creating a meaningful relationship. That is for the second half of our session for today. And I hope that you will still tune in so to have more learnings for today.
Yeah, so please inform your co-teachers, your friends, and your family members to tune in this afternoon, okay? So it's already 12:17, and we will be right back after an hour, so we'll have our lunch break. Enjoy your lunch, teachers.
Happy lunch!
As we face the command of rapid development in technological innovation in the world, the Philippines' preparedness in advancement of its physical facilities, infrastructure, and soft skills are given focus, especially with the empowerment of teachers' capacity and capability, not only in pedagogical aspects of teaching, but the confidence in delivering instruction with the use of information and communications technology. The Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, under the leadership of Yusek Alain Delby Pasqua, established the Educational Technology Unit under the Information and Communications Technology Service. Its prime function is to empower and capacitate public school teachers and learners as required by the global demand of the fast-paced development in technology. The task of the Educational Technology Unit is to promote and solidify the innovation and digitization projects that will support the requirements of the K-12 curriculum in delivering quality, accessible, relevant, and liberating education for all. It targets different components and facets of skills development, which will enable the technological advancement of the infrastructure of DepEd. This is supplemented with empowerment training programs in emerging technologies for public school teachers. The programs of the EdTech unit target the emerging pedagogies focused on open educational resources, robotics and mechatronics, coding and programming, virtual reality and augmented reality in education, mobile application development, Internet of Things, and the productivity tools for learning, which includes Microsoft Office 365, Google Apps for Education, and the different Adobe software tools. In addition, the maneuver of in-house applications such as the DepEd Commons and the DepEd Learning Management System is under the flagship of the EdTech unit. The supervision of DepEd TV in ensuring world-class produced video lessons is another task of the office. Lastly, the conduct of free online tutorial session, coined with the term eTulay, is a bridging program to support learners and parents in answering the self-learning modules pioneered with the initiative of the ICTS EdTech unit. A teacher's influence is limitless, bound with the heart for service and dedication to fulfill the greatest mission to educate the young. The ICTS Educational Technology Unit will be there to promote, to empower, and to inspire Filipino teachers and learners as we grow as a tiger in the region, hitting our target as one of the best in educational technology. Come on and join us as we make our dreams into a reality. Sama-sama tayong lahat tungo sa iisang layunin. Simulan natin ang pagbabago dahil tayo ang mga gurong magtatayo ng makabagong DepEd. Sulong Edukalidad.